Few betrayals in history carry the same weight as that of Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus Christ's 12 disciples. Trusted with managing the group's finances, Judas shared meals, prayers, and travels with Jesus for years. Yet, beneath this trust, something darker grew: greed and disillusionment. For 30 pieces of silver, Judas would commit the ultimate act of treachery. According to the Gospels, Judas approached the chief priests in Jerusalem and offered to deliver Jesus into their hands. His motive remains debated. Some claim greed, others suggest he expected Jesus to rebel against Rome and was disappointed when he didn't. Whatever the reason, Judas led Roman soldiers to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he identified his master with a kiss, a symbol of affection turned to poison. After Jesus' arrest, guilt consumed him. Judas tried to return the silver, crying that he had betrayed innocent blood, but the priests refused. Overwhelmed by shame, he took his own life. His death was as tragic as his betrayal, the story of a man who could not live with what he had done. Judas's name became eternal shorthand for treason. His kiss became a symbol of deceit, disguised as loyalty. 2,000 years later, his story still echoes as the ultimate warning that betrayal often begins not with hate, but with a broken heart. In the turbulent world of 5th century BCE Athens, few figures were as brilliant or as dangerous as Alcibiades. A gifted orator, general, and student of Socrates, he rose to prominence during the Peloponnesian War, commanding the trust of the Athenian people. But his ambition burned brighter than his loyalty. When accused of sacrilege, Alcibiades fled to Sparta, turning his genius for strategy against the very city that had made him. In Sparta, he revealed Athens' military secrets, advising the Spartans on how to defeat his homeland. His betrayal led to devastating losses for Athens, including the fortification of Decelea, which crippled Athenian supply lines. Yet, Alcibiades' restlessness knew no bounds. After outstaying his welcome in Sparta, he defected again, this time to Persia, offering his services to their satraps. A master manipulator, Alcibiades constantly shifted alliances to protect his own power. When Athens recalled him years later, he returned as a hero, only to be exiled again after another military failure. His life became a whirlwind of loyalty and deceit, brilliance and disgrace. In 404 BCE, as Athens lay defeated, Alcibiades' name became a symbol of selfish genius, a man whose betrayal had hastened his city's ruin. His story remains a timeless warning that ambition without loyalty can turn even brilliance into treason. During the American Revolutionary War, few officers were as brave or brilliant as Benedict Arnold. He fought valiantly for the colonies, helping capture Fort Ticonderoga and leading troops in crucial victories. For years, he was celebrated as a patriot, but beneath his pride simmered resentment. He felt underappreciated, accused of corruption, and denied recognition by Congress. That bitterness would turn him from hero to traitor. In 1780, Arnold secretly conspired with the British to surrender West Point, a critical American fort, in exchange for money and rank in the British Army. The plan unraveled when his contact, Major John André, was captured with incriminating documents. Arnold fled to British lines, barely escaping arrest by George Washington's men. The betrayal shocked the colonies. Washington, heartbroken, said, "Whom can we trust now?" Arnold's name became a curse among patriots, a symbol of greed and betrayal. Though he fought for the British afterward, he was never fully accepted by them either. His treachery made him an outcast on both sides. Benedict Arnold died in exile, despised in America and forgotten in Britain. Yet his name endures, a warning that the thirst for recognition can turn loyalty into treason, and heroes into villains in the blink of an eye. At the twilight of the Achaemenid Empire, as Alexander the Great marched across Persia, betrayal struck at the highest level. Bessus, a Persian noble and satrap of Bactria, served as one of King Darius III's trusted generals. But as Alexander's victories mounted, Bessus chose survival over honor, turning on his king in a desperate bid for power. In 330 BCE, When Darius's forces collapsed, Bessus and his men captured the fleeing monarch. Claiming to act for Persia's good, he ordered Darius's execution, leaving the once mighty king dying in a wagon on the road to Bactria. When Alexander found Darius's body, he wept for his fallen rival and swore vengeance on the traitor who had betrayed him. Bessus declared himself the new king of Persia, but his reign lasted mere months. Alexander pursued him relentlessly across Central Asia, until Bessus's own men turned against him. He was captured, mutilated, and executed, punished in the same brutal manner he had inflicted upon his sovereign. The death of Darius marked the end of an empire built on centuries of rule. Bessus's betrayal didn't save Persia, it destroyed its last hope of unity. His name endures in history not as a ruler, but as a coward who traded loyalty for a fleeting grasp at power. In 1757, as the British East India Company sought to dominate India, Mir Jafar, a trusted commander of Bengal's army, changed history through treachery. During the Battle of Plassey, he secretly conspired with Robert Clive, agreeing to betray his own ruler, Nawab Siraj-ud-Dawla, in exchange for power and wealth. His betrayal handed India's richest province to foreign conquerors. When the fighting began, British troops faced overwhelming odds. Yet Mir Jafar deliberately held his men back, ensuring the Nawab's army was outmatched. The battle ended in swift defeat, and Siraj-ud-Dawla was captured and executed soon after. The British crowned Mir Jafar as Bengal's puppet ruler, but his reward came with humiliation. Once useful, the British discarded him like a broken tool. His authority was undermined, his power stripped away, and his reputation ruined. The people of India branded him a traitor, and his name became synonymous with betrayal. Mir Jafar became a curse, still uttered generations later. His greed had sold an empire. Mir Jafar's betrayal changed the destiny of India forever. The British used his treachery to establish control that would last nearly 2 centuries. His story stands as one of the most devastating examples of how ambition and deceit can destroy a nation's freedom. When Nazi Germany invaded Norway in 1940, the world witnessed one of the most shameless acts of political betrayal. Vidkun Quisling, a Norwegian army officer and politician, seized the moment to aid the invaders. Instead of defending his homeland, he declared himself Norway's new leader on national radio, effectively handing his country to Hitler. Quisling's act stunned his people. He had been a minor politician with fascist leanings, but his sudden grab for power helped Germany conquer Norway with ease. While brave Norwegians resisted occupation, Quisling worked closely with the Nazis, enforcing their laws and persecuting his own citizens. His collaboration made him one of Europe's most despised men. When the war ended in 1945, Quisling's puppet regime crumbled. He was captured, tried for treason, and executed by firing squad, a fitting end for his betrayal. His name became a byword for traitors across the world. To this day, Quisling is used to describe anyone who betrays their country to an oppressor. Vidkun Quisling's downfall showed that betrayal can never bring true power. He sought glory, but found only disgrace. His name lives on not as a leader or patriot, but as a warning that treason always ends in ruin. In the chaos of World War II, Soviet General Andrey Vlasov became one of history's most infamous traitors. Once a decorated hero of the Red Army, he fought valiantly against the Nazis in the early years of the war, but after being captured by German forces in 1942, Vlasov made a shocking decision to side with the enemy and lead a new army against his own country. Vlasov formed the Russian Liberation Army, made up of Soviet POWs and anti-communist volunteers. He claimed his fight was against Stalin's tyranny, not Russia itself, but to the Soviet people. His actions were unforgivable. His army fought under German command, spreading Nazi propaganda and assisting in battles across Eastern Europe. To his homeland, he was a symbol of betrayal. When Germany began to lose the war, Vlasov's alliance crumbled. He attempted to switch sides again, offering help to anti-Nazi forces, but no one trusted him. In 1945, Soviet troops captured him, and the following year he was executed for treason. His defection left behind a legacy of shame that still divides historians. Vlasov's story exposes the darkest corners of loyalty and survival. Whether motivated by ideology or desperation, his betrayal stands as a haunting reminder of how war can twist heroes into villains, and how no cause can justify turning against one's own people. In the glittering yet crumbling Byzantine Empire, betrayal often came wrapped in royal robes. One of the most infamous cases was that of Andronikos Angelos, father of future Emperor Isaac II. During the 12th century, while serving under Emperor Manuel I Komnenos, Andronikos fled the battlefield, abandoning his army in a moment of cowardice that would stain his family name forever. The desertion led to disaster. The Byzantine forces, demoralized and leaderless, were slaughtered by their enemies. Andronikos's betrayal wasn't one of secret plots or assassinations. It was a betrayal of duty, courage, and faith in his emperor. His failure to stand firm symbolized the weakening spine of a once great empire. Though he escaped punishment, his descendants inherited the burden of his disgrace. Ironically, his son Isaac II would later rise to the throne, but his rule was marked by corruption and incompetence. Many believed the family's downfall was divine justice, the curse of Andronikos's cowardice echoing through generations. His story may not carry the bloodshed of conspiracies, but it reveals another truth about betrayal. Sometimes, abandoning one's duty is more destructive than any dagger in the dark. Andronikos Angelos's name endures as a reminder that empires can fall not only to enemies, but to the fear within their own ranks. The infamous gunpowder plot of 1605 began as a daring attempt to blow up England's parliament and assassinate King James I. But behind the mask of rebellion lay mistrust, panic, and betrayal among the plotters themselves. The group, led by Robert Catesby and his most famous accomplice, Guy Fawkes, aimed to ignite a Catholic uprising, but their unity would crumble from within. As the day of the attack approached, fear spread through the conspirators. One of them, believed to be Francis Tresham, sent a warning letter to a relative in Parliament, urging him to stay away. That letter reached the authorities, who uncovered the plot just hours before it could unfold. Fawkes was found in the cellar guarding barrels of gunpowder, and the plan collapsed instantly. Under torture, the conspirators betrayed one another, revealing names and confessions in desperate attempts to avoid the noose. Within weeks, the ringleaders were captured and executed, their bodies mutilated as a warning to others. Their dream of rebellion ended in blood, shame, and public spectacle. The gunpowder plot remains one of history's greatest examples of betrayal turned inward. What began as an act of unity against oppression became a lesson in paranoia and mistrust, proof that even among conspirators, loyalty burns out faster than gunpowder. In the midst of World War II, as Japan invaded China, a man named Wang Jingwei committed one of the nation's most infamous acts of betrayal. Once a revolutionary and close ally of Sun Yat-sen, Wang had helped shape modern China. But as war raged and Japan's power grew, he abandoned resistance and chose collaboration, forming a puppet government under Japanese control in 1940. Wang believed appeasement would preserve Chinese culture and save lives, but his decision was viewed as cowardice and treason. While Chinese soldiers fought and died against occupation, he met with Japanese officials and signed treaties, legitimizing their invasion. His speeches called for peace. Yet his peace came at the cost of his country's freedom. To many, Wang Jingwei had become China's Judas. As the war turned against Japan, his government collapsed. Wang died in 1944, just a year before Japan's defeat, escaping the full wrath of his people. His remains were later desecrated, and his name was erased from Chinese honors. Even today, Wang Jingwei remains synonymous with betrayal and moral surrender. His story shows that betrayal doesn't always come from malice. Sometimes it comes from fear disguised as reason. Wang's actions remind us that history rarely forgives those who trade loyalty for false peace. During the height of World War II, betrayal wasn't only found in politics, it lurked in military ranks too. General André Giraud, a French officer once respected for his leadership, secretly aided the Nazis during the occupation of France. His defection shocked his peers and undermined France's fight for liberation, proving that even those in uniform could be seduced by power. Giraud leaked strategic plans, troop movements, and political discussions to German intelligence. His actions endangered countless resistance fighters and soldiers. For a time, his betrayal remained hidden, masked by his charm and apparent patriotism. But when the Allies liberated France, evidence surfaced, and his guilt became undeniable. He was arrested, tried, and condemned as a collaborator. The verdict was swift, but the damage he caused lingered. France viewed him as a symbol of treachery within its own ranks, a man who traded national honor for personal survival. General Giraud's name was erased from history books. His reputation burned along with his uniform. He showed the world how one man's cowardice can stain the valor of an entire nation. In the shadowy world of espionage, few betrayals rival that of Kim Philby. A high-ranking officer in MI6, Britain's intelligence agency, Philby was trusted with the nation's deepest secrets. Yet, for over 30 years, he secretly worked for the Soviet Union, feeding them classified information throughout the Cold War. His double life destroyed countless missions and lives. Philby was charming, well-connected, and perfectly placed to deceive. He infiltrated British and American intelligence networks, alerting the Soviets whenever Western agencies uncovered their spies. His betrayal led to the deaths of numerous agents behind the Iron Curtain, all while he attended high society events and posed as a loyal patriot. In 1963, facing exposure, Philby fled to Moscow, where he lived the rest of his life under Soviet protection. Though celebrated as a hero by the USSR, he died a bitter man, disillusioned by the regime he served. His defection humiliated Britain, exposing just how deeply betrayal had burrowed into its institutions. Kim Philby's story remains one of espionage's greatest tragedies. He wasn't driven by money but by ideology, a man convinced he was serving a greater cause. Yet in the end, his actions proved one truth: no ideology can justify the betrayal of trust. In the heart of the Cold War, few betrayals shook America like that of Aldrich Ames. A veteran CIA officer, Ames wasn't just trusted, he was respected, overseeing some of the agency's most sensitive Soviet operations. But behind that professional exterior lay a man consumed by greed. In 1985, he secretly began selling U.S. intelligence to the KGB for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ames exposed the identities of numerous American spies operating in the USSR, many of whom were executed as a result. His treachery crippled the CIA's intelligence network for years, costing countless lives and missions. All the while, Ames lived lavishly, buying luxury cars, designer suits, and an expensive home that raised suspicion among his peers. Yet for nearly a decade, he evaded detection. When investigators finally uncovered his crimes in 1994, the damage was irreversible. Ames was arrested and sentenced to life in prison without parole. His betrayal remains one of the most devastating security breaches in American history. To the CIA, his name became a permanent scar, a reminder that the deadliest enemy can hide in plain sight. Aldrich Ames's fall revealed the price of corruption. His story proves that betrayal isn't always born from ideology or revenge. Sometimes it's driven by nothing more than the hunger for wealth. In the world of espionage, even one man's greed can collapse an entire empire of secrets. In the opulent courts of Renaissance Italy, betrayal often came cloaked in elegance and ambition. The Pazzi family, rivals to the powerful Medici, plotted one of the boldest acts of treachery in European history. In 1478, during Easter Mass inside Florence's Grand Cathedral, the Pazzi struck, attempting to assassinate Lorenzo de' Medici and his brother Giuliano in front of a horrified congregation. The attack was brutal and chaotic. Giuliano was stabbed to death on the cathedral floor, but Lorenzo escaped with a sword wound. The conspirators, supported by the Pope's allies, believed Florence would rise against the Medici. Instead, the city erupted in fury, turning on the Pazzis and their supporters in an explosion of vengeance. Within hours, the conspirators were captured and executed. Their bodies hung from the windows of Florence's government palace. The Pazzi name was erased from public memory, their lands seized, their family crest destroyed. The Pazzi Conspiracy stands as a vivid reminder of how ambition blinds judgment. In their hunger for dominance, they underestimated loyalty and paid for it with blood and legacy. Their downfall became one of the Renaissance's most notorious cautionary tales. In 1453, as the mighty Ottoman Empire laid siege to Constantinople, betrayal struck one of the world's greatest cities from within. For weeks, the Byzantines held strong against overwhelming odds, their ancient walls resisting the Sultan's relentless assault. But hidden among their ranks were traitors, mercenaries, and insiders who opened the city's gates in the dead of night, sealing Byzantium's fate forever. The fall wasn't sudden. It was slow, fueled by greed and desperation. Some defenders, unpaid and weary, secretly negotiated with the Ottomans for safety and wealth. When the moment came, they abandoned their posts, allowing enemy forces to pour through the weakened defenses. The city that had stood for 1,000 years fell not by force alone, but by betrayal. When the invaders entered, chaos consumed Constantinople. Churches were looted, citizens slaughtered, and Emperor Constantine XI died fighting at the gates. The once great Byzantine Empire was erased in a single day, marking the dawn of Ottoman dominance and the end of the Middle Ages. The fall of Constantinople remains a haunting testament to how betrayal can end civilizations. No matter how strong the walls, they crumble when loyalty breaks, a timeless truth etched in the ashes of empires. Every betrayal leaves a scar on history. Which one do you think was the most shocking? Tell us in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more dark history explained, and thanks for watching.